Okay, yay. So welcome back. All right, so as I mentioned, just quick review here of what we're going to cover, what we did cover last week, what we're going to cover over the next 3 weeks.
We
Um,
don't we don't see the
and
slide yet.
you still don't see them?
Mm-mm. I don't. Oh, there it is.
Okay,
Okay.
it's showing up for me. All
Okay.
right.
It just popped up.
Okay, so welcome back, everyone. And did everybody get their little goodies, their three little bottles of oils? I know they looked like they were empty bottles, but I promise they're not. We just put a few drops of each oil. So you should have a little baby bottle of Valor, a little baby bottle of Build Your Dream, and a little baby bottle of Highest Potential. And the Build Your Dream might just say BYD, and Highest Potential might say just HP, because we did run out of labels. So I wanted to get those out to you as quickly as possible so you'd have them for tonight. So, so I didn't want to wait for labels to come in. So you may have some nice homemade grassroots labels on your bottles. All right. So just grab your Valor. If you don't have it right now, go get it. We're going to be using it. So you have permission to get up and run. Grab your Valor. I'm actually going to show you my Valor, which I'm super proud of. I have about probably 6 little bottles of Valor, but this one, Denise, can you see that?
I can.
So that's a 15 ml bottle of Valor from a long time ago. So they don't.
It looks like one of the old labels.
Exactly, exactly. And this was like gold. And I actually got this off of my sister because she had multiples. And I was like, oh my gosh, a giant bottle of Valor. Can I please have one? Because I've just had the little ones. And this was in my raindrop kit. That's why I haven't used it all up, because I just use a few drops with each raindrop.
Yeah.
But I wanted to show you all just this beautiful big bottle of Valor. So, and we're going to come back to that in just a moment, but just make sure you have it there right near you. Okay. And we're going to jump right in. Tonight's content should flow a little bit faster, I think. I think you'll find it a little bit more exciting and fun, because we're going to cover some of the homework and some fun parts of the homework. And we're just going to go ahead and get right started with that. So, how many of you did the color quiz for the homework last night? And Denise, you'll have to tell me because I can't see who's answering in the chat. So if you did do the homework, let us know.
And you guys can chat. You can just speak up. You can take it off mute. Even if your video is not on, you can still talk with us that way. So, all right, Judy did the homework.
Can you hear me?
Yay, we can hear you.
I figured it out.
And we can see you too. Awesome. Hey, Andrea, welcome.
Hello.
So Andrea's like super new in here. So I don't even know if you got the homework or know about the homework, but we did.
Nope, but that's okay.
All right. So this is the homework.
I have my Valor.
Beautiful. Good. And what I'm telling everyone right now is if you didn't get all the homework done, that's okay. All right. We're not here to beat you or punish you or, take points off. Just look at it now and you can do it after we're done. All right. So it's pretty simple homework. This isn't the kind of stuff that's going to take you hours, and it's really fun homework. I think those of you who did the color quiz had fun with it. As I mentioned in the little video earlier today, if you saw that, the one thing about the color quiz that we want to make sure of is that you're not skewing your results. Okay. So it's a personality quiz, a personality typing or profiling quiz. So what you want to do is try to think of yourself at your most natural state. Okay? For many of us, that's not this current time in our life. So you may want to go back to like your 20s or even younger and come do the testing, answer the questions from that standpoint. Okay, how would I have answered this when I was 20? Or how would I have answered this when I was 15? Okay, so that's what I want you to do if you haven't already done it. Because right now in your life, you might be a caregiver. I'm just going to mute you, Andrea. You might have children. You might have animals, right? You might be the person responsible for a lot of people. And so that can actually change how you answer some of your questions, right? So you want to come out of that role to where you're just maybe a single person or just a younger person with not a ton of responsibility. All right, so if you haven't done the color quiz, please do that. We are going to talk about it tonight. It's okay, just stay with us, and then once you take your quiz, you'll get it. It'll all make sense, okay? How many of you reviewed the income disclosure? I know a few of you shared with me separately that you looked at the income disclosure and the comp plan. This is one of the reasons you can have valor, right? To review the income disclosure and the comp plans. Have courage while you're doing that. Yeah, they're going to be confusing in the beginning. So when you first look at them, it might be confusing, it might be overwhelming. Don't worry, we're going to help you with that. And the more you look at it, the more it will start to make sense. Okay, little pieces will start to pop out and be like, oh, okay, I get what that means. I get what that means. All right, so we wanted you to just look at them so that when we start talking about them, little things will start to click. Okay, Denise, any comments in the chat on any of that?
If anybody was trying to look at that, like Judy, look at the comp plan on their cell phone, it was hard to read.
Oh, right.
So we have the links, obviously. We have them in Facebook, right? I think if we click on it there, it might show up bigger there.
Right. Absolutely.
Obviously, if you're on your phone, it's still going to be the same issue. So
right.
Maybe get to a computer somehow.
Right. There's also some good videos, so we can find some of those, right? And we can share the videos because there are some people that have done little tutorials on the comp plan and they break it down. So we'll probably share more of that next week. We're not going to get you too bogged down with that right now. All right. We just wanted you to take a peek, get a sense for where it is and where you can go for more detail, and then we'll take you through that a little bit more. Really next week is when we're going to focus on that. All right. Okay. And how many of you created your referral link? That was a biggie. I know a lot of you did. So Brenda, I know you did. You can actually raise your hand so that I can see. So if you raise your hand, if you created your referral link, all right. And Andrea, this is all the fun stuff you get to do. So if you just go to yl.pe, you put in your member number in both fields, in the sponsor and the enroller, it's going to give you a link. And that link is what you can give to people if they're interested in ordering something. So it makes it really easy if someone says, Andrea, how do I get some thieves? Or how do I order a starter kit? Or how do I get the thieves cleaner? You can say, oh, here, just go to this link. All right, and then that will automatically have those, any of those purchases or orders will go under you. Okay? All right, good. Awesome. All right, so moving past last week, now it's time to grab your Valor. Denise, do you want to take us through this? So preparing for our lessons for this evening using our Valor.
Oh yes, I was just reading chat. Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, so Valor, obviously for strength and courage, and everybody has it with them. You can. I like to put Valor back of my neck. Sometimes I'll drop it down my spine. For me, that sort of gives me a sense of, I don't know, it makes me sit up straight, right? It makes me sort of, yeah, it just, it automatically gives you a sense of courage. And so we can all do that now. If you feel comfortable, you can put it, wherever you like. Sometimes people like to put it, on their wrist. You can smell it that way. Personally, I like the idea of having it on my spine. So. Sometimes I just let that drop, drop right down. Feels good. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, it smells great.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be great, like in schools, for every child to do this before they learn something new?
That's fantastic.
Right? Well, Andrea's shaking her head, yes.
I used to have, Judy will know, my dog Sky many years ago. I would compete with her, and she was a little timid, and so I would put Valor on her before I would compete with her to help give her strength and confidence and secure in herself. So
I love it. All right. So we're all valored up, right? Everybody's valored up. All right, let's jump into the colors. All right, so and Denise, you'll just have to tell me. So if you can just type in the chat right now what color you came back as if you did the color quiz. So I know some of you posted and shared this, but just for those of you that are here that are with us right now, just type that in the chat because we're going to talk about, oh, and Jess, you're in? I think Jessica's in. Yay, welcome. So just type that in the chat so we make sure that we know who's here and what colors we have the most of tonight, okay? And I'm going to take you through just a little bit about each color. Some of it hopefully you read already, but this will be great if you didn't do the quiz yet or you didn't get your results yet. I'm just going to kind of give you the overview. And then we're going to talk about why this matters, or why we had you do this, besides the fact that it's kind of fun and we kind of get to know you a little bit. But we're also going to tell you how to use this to help you in what you're doing with Young Living, okay? So we're going to actually start, I'm going to start in the bottom right with reds, okay? And so reds are your people that are very self-motivated, they're very driven, and they're very goal-oriented, okay? Do we have any reds in the group? No reds?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. Reds are really comfortable taking charge. Okay, so if we had a red, they might actually take over our meeting right now and take charge of it. They're comfortable being leaders. They're comfortable being in that position, okay? And one of the easiest things that I ever found to associate with the different colors or to try to understand them is that typically, if you're talking to a red, there's a word that they will use more often than other people might, all right? And there's sort of a focus that they have that's pretty consistent with reds, okay? And that word is the word what. So when you're talking to a red, they want to know what is it about? What is the point? What's in it for me? What do I have to do? Okay, those are the kinds of questions that reds would ask. So if they're thinking about a Young Living business, that's typically what a red would say. Okay, what's involved? What do I need to do to get started? What's in it for me? What's the opportunity? And what's the next step, right? Those might be some of the questions that they would ask. If you're trying to get a red to come to a class, right? And that's an important point. So if you're talking to someone who's a red, if you're not a red, and this is why we want you to understand and know a little bit about each of these, because as you're talking to people, it can be helpful to know a red is going to want to know what we're going to cover in the class, right? They're probably not going to come if you just say, yeah, I'm having a class, come, right? They want to know, you know, what are we covering? And what am I going to learn? And what's going to be the benefit of me coming to this class? Okay? So that's an idea or a general overview of your reds. Your greens, oh, and by the way, reds are usually pretty organized. Okay? Your greens are, I've got some greens. So your greens are your researchers. They're your data people. They're your learners. They love learning. They love new information. They actually love classes. They love teaching classes. They love attending classes. They just love getting information, right? So they are more slow to make decisions. So they're more, you know, they ponder things and they consider things. They do their research. They do their homework. They like facts. They like data. They are goal-oriented, like red, so they have some similarities there. And they tend to be very organized, very structured. So they have a method to their madness. They like plans. They like lists. They like calendars, and you know, they like structuring things. They're very organized in that way. All right. In a green, the word that you'll typically hear with a green is the word how. All right. So, for instance, if I were going to get ready to create a class, the first thing I would think is, okay, how am I going to put this together? How am I going to do this? Right? That would be my thinking, right? If you're talking to a green, so if you're here looking at the Young Living business and you're a green, the first thing you might have thought is, how am I going to work? How's that going to work? Right? Or how am I going to work that into what I do? Or how would I get started with that? Or how, you know, how does one do that? How does that business work? It would be a lot of how words, okay? So this just starts to give you little clues so that when you're talking with someone, if they keep asking how questions, you might say, oh, that sounds kind of green. And yeah, you know, they're really organized and they're really into learning and data and information, right? So you can just start to get a general sense for what someone might be. Not that we're going to spend all of our days just analyzing the people around us constantly, but just so that you can be a little bit more aware, okay? Because the way that we communicate with different personality types makes a difference. It makes them feel better understood. It makes them feel more connected to you. And, you know, it's just going to help in whatever you're doing, whatever types of relationships you have with someone, okay? So that's your green. And anything else about greens? I guess that's the biggest thing with greens, okay? Greens do, as we talked about last week, they feel like they have to know everything before they can share. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't know every oil or every product Young Living has or every ingredient or take a deep breath because you might be a green. And we do have that need to know everything before we can share or teach or educate anyone. You have to work on that and just remember what I said last week. Start with one thing. Say, okay, I'm going to learn about the thieves cleaner and I'm going to share about that. And then next week, I'll learn about valor and I'll share about that. Okay, so you can break it down into smaller chunks. Okay, now we move over to yellow. So our yellows are, they are helpers, right? So yellows tend to be people that put others first, put themselves last. They're very much about the needs of others, how they can help others, you know, what they can do to make the world a better place, to, you know, take care of and serve others. That's your yellow. And so the yellow's word is who, right? And if you're trying to get a yellow to come to your class, there are kind of two ways to do that. One is to ask them to help you put the chairs away at the end because they'll be like, oh, I'll come help, right? Because yellows are very, very helpful. So if you say, hey, you know, Judy, I really need some help at my class next Thursday. Would you be willing to come and help me set up and, you know, tear down? Or would you? They'll be like, yes, because I want to help you. The other way is to help them see how what they're going to learn might benefit someone they care about. So if you say, Judy, you know, if you come to this class, we're going to be talking about, you know, how to remove toxins. And I know that your sister is really dealing with a lot of toxins. So this might really be helpful information to share with her. All right. So they're all about the who's. This color type is the number one miscategorized among women, though, because so many of us put our needs last and put others before us because we're in a family situation, right? So we have children, or we're taking care of an elderly parent, and I don't mean to be sexist, but it does tend to be more women, all right, that are in those roles. It's just the fact. So this is where it's so important to extract yourself from your current life situation when you do the quiz, and make sure you're answering it before you had those responsibilities to make sure that that's valid for you, okay? And yellows are a little bit less goal-oriented. It doesn't mean they can't have goals, but again, they're more about the people and taking care of people and doing what's good for people than they are about their own personal goals, okay? They put those last. And then your blues are your life of the party people. So these are your fun people. Blues love to have a good time. They are actually very persuasive. They're very good, usually very good at speaking and connecting with people. They have that gift of gab most of the time, and that ability to just be comfortable in social situations. They love meeting new people. They love traveling. They love anything that's fun. They love spontaneity. They're less likely to be planners. They're less likely to be super organized or detail-oriented, right? These are more fun, happy, happy-go-lucky types, all right? Their word is why. So if you're trying to get a blue to come to a class or to listen about Young Living, you need to convey why they would want to. And if you really want them to come to a class, it needs to be fun. All right, so you're not going to say to a blue, yeah, we're going to have this 4-hour class and we're going to sit and you're going to listen to all this information and you're going to learn tons of data and you're going to be able to take lots of notes. They would be running like after the third word that came out of your mouth, okay? They want to come to a class where you're going to be serving Ningxia shots, or where you're going to have music, or you're going to dress up, or you're going to have giveaways, or you're going to get to make something, do a make and take, right? So they need to have something fun, some element of fun. They also care about the who, all right? So like yellows, they're close to yellows in the sense that they want to know who's going to be there. Are you going to have some fun people there that I might want to meet? Okay, so blues are interested in kind of what's going to be fun, what's going to let them meet new people, have new experiences. Okay, has everybody got that? Any feedback?
Well, the good news is when you asked Judy if she would help set up and take down the next class, she said there.
Thanks, Judy.
And it looks like we primarily have yellows and greens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. And that, it makes sense. So because of what Young Living offers, right? Because we have an opportunity to really help people with the oils and the products, it makes sense that yellows are attracted to doing this business, right? And then your greens are the people that love to learn. So learning about the oils and what they can do, it's really a perfect combination, I think. All right, so that's fantastic. And so here's the thing. You're not like typecasted into one color that you can never, break out of, or it doesn't mean that you're only going to be yellow and you don't have any goals, so you're never going to get anywhere. All this really does is help you identify what your major color is. And the reason we want to do this is so that you can connect with what's really going to work best for you. Okay, your reds and your greens are probably going to be more comfortable doing bigger classes. Your blues too, I'm sorry, but your yellows might actually feel more comfortable one-on-one. All right, so honor that if that's what feels right for you. Okay, and just know that you can develop the skills from any of these. You can partner with people. So if you're a really strong red, it might help you to partner with a yellow to bring in that, right, how to talk to people in just more kind, loving ways than the real direct, right? Your reds are going to be real direct and like, what do we got to do? Let's get it done. Move, right? Okay. So hopefully this is helpful. This is just the tip of the iceberg. But as you work with us and as you work with your Young Living business, you'll see more about this. Okay. And so we wanted you to kind of have a sense for it, explore it a little bit, and then you can continue to learn about it. Okay. All right.
So Judy wants to know what colors we are.
Oh, really good question. So I'll go. I'm a green yellow. So like a lot of the people here, sometimes when I take the test, I get a little more yellow than a little green. But when I go back and do it as a 20-something-year-old, I get less yellow and more green. So so that's me. Denise, how about you?
I'm predominantly blue and with some red, but when I take it as I was in my 20s, I'm blue and yellow.
Interesting.
And never, unfortunately, do I have green, which is why I need calendars, Judy.
Well, and that's the whole thing, right? I think that's what's great about this. If you identify, it's not natural for me to organize data, then you can build systems or partnerships to help with that, right? So you can have people that, you bring the fun and I'll bring, the organizer. I'll bring the outline.
But
all right.
knowing that I don't have a lot of green, like that is something I'm aware of, and I do try to, sort of focus on and pay attention to.
Right.
I don't always succeed. I fail all the time, but it's something that I'm aware of and try to pay attention to it.
Yeah, exactly. And we're always growing. So right. And that's the other thing about doing this Young Living business. The thing that Denise and I talk about all the time is that because we started on this journey doing this business, we've gone through so much self-improvement and self-development that that's almost the best part of doing this, right? Besides meeting all of you and having new friends and connecting with all that good stuff, just what happens for you in terms of getting to know yourself better, getting to see what you really enjoy doing, stretching yourself, right? Getting better at things maybe that you weren't so great at, but now you realize are valuable. So all of that's, I think, pretty cool. All right, so now I'm going to talk a little bit about how to share authentically. And I'm just going to see. We do have a little bit of clicking and thinking. So let me see who needs to mute. Yeah, if you're actually on audio, if you could just mute yourself just for right now, just so we want to make sure we have a good recording. Okay, great. Thank you, thank you. All right, so how to share authentically. And this is, I think, super important because first of all, we want to make sure we're thinking and focusing on the word share, all right? So doing the Young Living business is not about selling, okay? It's not direct sales in the sense that you're out selling products, right? That's not what it's about. You're sharing a lifestyle, you're sharing a way for people to become healthier. So it is not selling. And so when you're sharing, we want you to really focus on sharing authentically. So Denise, do you want to talk a little bit about that being you part?
Yeah, the being you part is so super important. You know, we're using these products and we are passionate about it, and we can only share the things that we have experience with. And you know, like I see things that Kelly can do, and I know that I can't speak and share the same way she does. And so I just have to, you know, be in my own skin and do the things that come naturally to me. You know, I've experienced in different areas. I speak differently, I share differently, and people will resonate with that so much more than if you're trying to duplicate somebody else. You really can't. You might be able to sort of replicate a little bit and say, okay, I can sort of use that as training wheels, but you really have to put your own spin, your own words, your own passion, your own heart into it.
Yeah, and just being you and being real is what's going to attract people, right? And that's where your success will really come from. It's not going to be, you know, chasing people out of the supermarket and trying to give them samples of things or none of that. We don't do any of that stuff, right? It's just being you, right? So and you know, your colors hopefully will help with that, but also working on that self-improvement, self-development, and just knowing yourself can be really.
And I can say, you know, from my own experience, so many people have approached me about Young Living and about the products because they see me using it, because that's me in my authentic life, right? I'm using it. I'm out there with my pets. I'm out there in the middle of the field doing something. I'm out there using it. Come into my home and they're everywhere. So that's authentic for me because they're just a part of my everyday life. So people actually come to me more than I even reach out to them.
Exactly.
It's just there, right? That's authentic for me.
Right. And they actually that's called pull marketing instead of push marketing. So there is marketing that they push stuff at you and they try to get you to order stuff, or pull marketing is actually more positive than it sounds, but it's just that creating that natural draw where people will say, I want what she has, or, you know, she seems really balanced, or she seems really calm, or she seems whatever, right? Her dogs are really healthy. And people start to look at that and say, I want some of that. I got to find out what she's doing, right? So it's just this natural draw that occurs. And part of that is by being a product of the product, right? So as you're using your oils, as you are using Ningxia, as you're using supplements, whatever the products are that you use from Young Living, your cleaning products, your thieves cleaner, you'll become a product of the product, and you'll be able to create your own stories, right? So when you hear Denise or I share, you know, when we teach a class, we share our stories about how the oils or how Young Living changed our lives. But you're going to create your own, and those are going to be the most appealing. They're going to be the most compelling to the people that you're talking to, right? If you say, oh, well, you know, my friend Kelly, this is what happened for her, that's not going to be as powerful as telling your own story. So that's a really important piece, is your first step, really. And I actually just talked to my son about this because he's going to do the Young Living business. He's a college student, and he's like, Mom, I really want to do this. I really want to do it. And I said, okay. He's like, how do I start? I said, just start using more of the products. You use the oils and you use some of the supplements, but I'll get you some more things. Start using them. Start creating your own stories, right? Have your own experiences. So that's like one of the number one best things that you could do right now, especially if you're brand new. If you just got your kit, just start using things, right? Develop your own stories. And for those of you who've had your kit for a little while, if you're not already on Essential Rewards, that would be my next recommendation for you, is get on Essential Rewards. Because, number one, it's making a commitment, right? It's saying, okay, I'm serious about this. I'm going to do this as a business. And I saw the opportunity. I saw the income opportunity statement. I maybe didn't understand all of it, but I saw those big numbers. And I know those are real. So I'm going to be serious about this and make this an investment. And that's what Essential Rewards is on one level. It's saying, this is real. I'm going to invest in getting new products every month so I can create my own stories. So I have my own experiences with those products. But also, when you're committing to ER, it's a personal commitment to changing your life, right? So you might be using your oils, but when you start to get on, when you get on ER, it's saying, I'm going to change my lifestyle now. I'm going to start swapping out my cleaning products, and I'm going to start swapping out the personal care products, my shampoo, my conditioner, you know, my skincare, my makeup, right? I'm going to start swapping those things out. And don't worry, like, I know when you first look at it, you think, wow, but that's an extra expense every month, right? So you can look at it as a business investment, right? So if you do the 50 PV every month or 100 PV, it's still a business investment, and there's still really no other business that you can only invest $50 or $100 a month, right? But on the other side of that is the fact that you're just really swapping. So, you know, we call it ditch and switch or transfer buying. So instead of getting your laundry detergent at Target or Walmart or wherever you get it, you're going to get it now at Young Living, right? And you're going to get 24% back on that. And with ER, you're going to get another percentage of points back every month, right? So those are some things to do. Become a product of the product, develop your own stories, make a commitment, right? And so make this something serious, not a hobby, right? It can be a small business that you grow over time, but make a commitment to doing that, all right? And that, when I did that, you know, that was probably the only thing I did right from the beginning, was I got on Essential Rewards right away. And I never stopped, right? I never stopped. And so today, you know, I think I've been on Essential Reward for like 150 months, and I earn 25% back on every order on top of my 24% discount. So it's amazing, right? I get my products, I get a huge discount on my products. So, and I have lots of things that I've tried and I use every day or every week or however often they need to be used. So I have lots of things I can talk about. All right. So that's a biggie. Be a product of the product. And then listening, right, Denise? Listening to people is the other way to share authentically. And I can't overemphasize this. The less we speak, the more we will hear. And it's hearing when someone has a need, right? So if you're talking to someone, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm just so stressed out, or I'm not sleeping, or whatever it is. And you can just say, well, could I just, would it be okay if I gave you a sample of Valor? Would you like to take some Valor with you? Would you like to try this? Right? So it's listening and then serving them, right? So actually caring about those people, hearing what they're saying, and sharing something with them that might be helpful. All right. And that's where yellows, you will absolutely shine in that. All right. Just don't give everything away that you have, because you might have that tendency. Save some for yourself. But listening is key. All right. And listening to what people's needs are, what their struggles are, and then recognizing I might be able to help them. Right. And that's what this is really all about.
And if I'll just add to that, it doesn't take much either when you do share with them. I was talking with Kelly earlier, and I said, you know, I remember years ago, I would just, as soon as I got that little opening, I would basically regurgitate everything, you know, and say too much because I would be so anxious and so wanting to help somebody. I would just give way too much. I mean, in terms of information. And over time, I just learned to listen more, you know, and sometimes you might not even be in a place, or they might not be in a place to even hear it yet, but you just sort of keep that in the back of your mind. You store it. Maybe the next conversation, it becomes the topic. when it's more authentic, right? You know all of this stuff. You know in your gut when something feels right or when it doesn't. But I just found also, just pay attention when you are listening. Listen to what it is that they really need, and not so much about all the stuff that you know about it, right? You can't overwhelm them with things.
Right.
I think that has always been the safest route to go.
That's a really good point. And that makes me think of the fact that you don't want it to be about your agenda, right? So you really want to be authentic. So if you're listening to people and they have a need, you can share, but you don't want to shove it down their throat. You don't want to say, you have to do this right now, right? People don't want to be told what to do. They don't want to be ordered into something. And that's not being compassionate. But so being caring about their wellness, but not having your agenda of either, like Denise said, spouting out everything you know about the oils, right? And overwhelming them, or trying to boss them into it.
And
Right.
people will let you know. They'll tell you. I had somebody just a few weeks ago say, I literally said to her, would you be interested in trying oils for this particular thing? And she was like, oh my gosh, yes, please, give me all you've got. Like, give me all the information, tell me all about it. So it was like permission for me to say, okay, here's where we're going to go with that. And then I would check in. How are you doing? You have any questions? You need more information, right? So people will let you know when they're ready to.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point too. Okay. So we're coming to the really fun part. Okay. This I think is really fun, right, Denise?
Yes, it is.
So how many of you, so when I said a moment ago that I want you to think of this as a real business, not a hobby, right? What that means is that when people ask you, what do you do? This needs to be part of the equation, all right? So like one of our team members is an accountant, and the way she answers this is she says, well, my 9-to-5 job is I'm an accountant, but I also, and then she answers the second part of it, okay, which I'm not going to tell you what she says yet. Right? So this is an important thing, because every time someone asks you what you do, it's an opportunity for you to share, right? To the extent that feels right and authentic for you. Okay? So you don't have to start shoving things down their throats, but it is an opportunity for you to let people know what you do. And this is really important, even in the beginning, because I will tell you that there are people that have started their Young Living business and they were like this. They didn't tell anybody. And guess what? Their own mothers and sisters and best friends signed up under somebody else because they didn't tell anyone, right? They were just doing it, but nobody knew. So if you've decided to do this, if you said, I'm in, then I want you to think about this as a real opportunity, okay? And again, it doesn't mean you have to go order business cards. You don't have to put a sign out front in front of your home. You don't have to create a web. You don't have to do anything grandiose at all. But you do want to think about how you're going to tell people what you're doing. All right, so I'm going to help you a little bit with this. Denise and I came up with a way to kind of help you slide into this. But first, just think about what you would say right now. Just think about it. If someone said to you, so what do you do? Right? You're in an elevator, you're at a restaurant, you're wherever, in line somewhere, and someone says, oh, what do you do? All right. Are we stumped? Can I see some hands up if you're a little stumped on what to say? Does it feel a little scary? Okay. All right. So here's the help. All right. One of the easiest way to convey what you do, and one of the ways to draw the most interest, is if you create a phrase like this. I help blank with blank. Now, to give you an example, it could be, I help people with understanding how essential oils work. Or I help people who want to learn about essential oils. Or it could be more broad than that. I help people reduce the toxins in their home by learning about natural products. All right. It could be, so Denise, give us your example from the dog world. So how would you phrase it in terms of what you do for dogs or people with dogs?
I would say I help people with, oh goodness, I help people with creating a more natural environment for their dogs.
Beautiful.
With natural alternatives for their dogs.
Okay. All right. So, and I might say, I help people get healthier by eliminating the toxins in their lives. Right. And then what's natural with this is when you say something like that, like I help people with by, right? When you explain it that way, then people are more apt to say, well, how do you do that? Right? Or what does that look like? Right? Or who? So think about those colors, right? So your reds are going to say, well, what's involved? Your hows are going to say, well, how do you do that? Your yellows are going to say, oh, what kind of people do you help? Who are your clients? Or, you know, what do you have to do to be one of those people? Right? Your blues, I don't know if they'd say why, but why are you doing that?
Listen, that's great. How do I do it too?
But it does, right? But it does stimulate conversation. Okay. So I want you to think about what you're doing right now. So whatever your line of work is, 9 to 5, you can still say that. So you know, so I might even say, you know what? I'm a health coach. I help people get healthy by eliminating the toxins in their lives. Because for me, it's food as a toxin as well as all their products and right and using the oils in place of things. So we're going to work on this and we're going to craft this so that you can get to a place where you can answer that. If you already know, feel free to type it in the chat. So if you know what you're going to say right now, if you have got this down, then type it in the chat, right? Because it's going to help you and it's going to help others.
Right, I'm sorry. Even if you don't have it down, like type something anyways, because that's going to give you a good place to start. It's going to give you a place where you're comfortable, and it's going to happen. Like someone will ask you, and at least you'll have somewhere to start.
Right. And what you don't want to say is, I sell oils, right? You don't want to say that because that's really not what you do. And you're probably going to have the person run from you, but maybe not. But so you want to work on this, all right? This is important. And it may take time to work out the kinks in it, to get comfortable. And then it's going to take time getting comfortable saying it. All right? It does. Okay?
I'll tell you, early on, I was asked one time, and I knew these people they were curious about oils to begin with, so I had a little bit of that background. And when they said, by the way, like, what is it that you do? And I said, I teach classes on essential oils. And I just kind of said it and then just didn't say anything. It was like one of those bombs, I just threw it out there and I was like, what's going to happen? And they went, no kidding. Would you do a class for us?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like, oh my gosh, right? So, yeah, that was, I just put it right out there.
Beautiful. All right, so this is going to be work in progress. All right, so if you have something, feel free to type it in. If you're working through it, feel free to type it in. I'm going to jump into how to share compliantly. We're probably going to run about 5 minutes over because we started about 5 minutes late, but we'll try to move through this fairly quickly. This also, we're not going to really dive into deeply, but we want you to be aware of it. All right, so sharing compliantly is really important, and it's actually a gift. Okay. It's harder for me, for Denise and I both, I think, to see it as a gift just because we came from a time where you could say anything and everything about essential oils. You could share everything that was in the desk reference verbally in classes, wherever. And now we have some restrictions on that. But the good news about compliance and sort of having some restrictions on what is okay to say is that it removes the notion that essential oils are only to be used when there's a problem, all right? Because now what we're focusing on is sharing oils with people for staying healthy, right? For maintaining your body's healthy systems, okay? And less about, use this when you're sick or use this when you have the flu. Those are some of the things we cannot say. So you can't say, oh, you're sick, here you go. Oh, you have a cold, you have a cough, you have bronchitis, here you go. That's what we're not doing anymore, okay? What we're doing is sharing how oils and how non-toxic products can support our healthy bodies all the time, All right. And it's a much better way to teach and share and educate because it helps people to see that they should be using these all the time, not just when they have an issue. Okay. So these are some of the hot words. I'm just going to leave them on the screen for you. These are the hot words that we want to avoid when we're talking about essential oils, when we're teaching people, when we're sharing. Okay. And don't worry, we're going to teach you what to say instead. Right? We're going to teach you. The beautiful thing is that you're first learning this at a time where you don't know any other way to share. So that's why, like for Denise and I, there's stuff that like starts to come out of our mouth, and we're like, oh, I didn't mean to say that, right? Because we were used to saying that for 10 years. Okay. And we'll get into more of the detail and share with you why some of this has come about. You know, a lot of it's really FDA related. But truthfully, it makes you more respected when you don't. Like when I used to teach classes and say all these things, there were some people that were like, that's got to be crazy, right? She's got to be out of her mind to think that this little bottle of oil can do all that. So actually it makes you seem more rational and like you're not making outrageous claims. Okay, so that's another good thing about it. And it keeps you out of that place of having to kind of, you know, play doctor, right? We really shouldn't be playing doctor. We shouldn't be diagnosing people and prescribing things, right? Even if they're natural things. We should be letting people be empowered enough to do their own research and decide for themselves. That makes sense? Okay. So those are some of the hot words. These are some of the things that are okay to say, all right? So these are approved things that you can say about Young Living products. So many essential oils are immune enhancing. Many support the body's natural defenses, the immune, circulatory, respiratory. If you're talking about the Vitality line, the ones that can be ingested, then you can say that it supports the immune system, the respiratory system, the endocrine system, okay? And so there's a few other things on here that you can see. They're oxygenating, they're high in antioxidants, mood elevating, right? So there's plenty of things that you can say, right? That's the good news. And these are also words and phrases that are approved. So many essential oils boost stamina and energy. Many help you relax. Many help manage stress and frustration, help reduce the appearance of aging, help improve mental clarity, promote overall health, vitality, and longevity. Okay, you're going to have these. I'm going to put them in the group so you can refer back to this. We're also going to point you to some other places to learn more about this. Initially, if you're starting to share and you're not sure, then you can ask us, right? Ask your sponsor, ask me. If you're going to post something or share something, we'll check it for you, all right? And we'll talk you through it. All right. These are some awesome things. These are claims that we can actually make about some of the Young Living over-the-counter products. So these actually have been approved as the FDA, by the FDA so that we can use this language. So your Thieves cough drops, you can claim it as a cough suppressant, right? The diaper rash cream can be used, you can use claims like it helps relieve, treat, and prevent diaper rash. The sunscreen, it can be called a sunscreen. For the mineral, the 50 SPF sunscreen, you can say it helps prevent sunburn. So just take a look at these. Your Cool Azul is a big one. For any of you that are in sports or, you know, work with people that are working out or people that shovel a lot, like those of us in New Hampshire. You can say it temporarily relieves minor aches and pains of muscles and joints. You can also reference arthritis, strains, bruises, sprains, and simple backache for Cool Azul. All right, and that stuff works amazingly well. The acne treatment, all right, you can say that it helps clear acne blemishes, pimples, blackheads. So these are some of the insect repellent actually isn't an over-the-counter, but you can say that it's a bug repellent. All right, so there's lots of things you can say and talk about, and there's lots of creative ways to share, and you'll be learning all of that. Okay, we just wanted you to be conscious of the fact that you can't say, you know, this is going to cure your whatever illness. Okay, and you can't use words that are related to disease or illness or sickness. Okay? Did I cover enough of that, you think, Denise?
I think so, because
Okay.
that can go on for quite some time.
Right, exactly. Okay. So let's, Denise, can you talk a little bit about how some of the resources we put together, or just identified, really?
Sure. YL Share is actually an app that you can download on your phone or your iPad, and you actually it's a free app, and you use your Young Living login to access it, and within there you can get information on specific products, right through to even business information. But it's right there. It's easily accessible. It will give you you can watch short videos on specific products. It will give you the monthly promo that's on there. The other nice thing is that it allows you, oh great, you've got it up there.
Yeah, I was just going to show it a little bit.
It allows you the option to take any of that information that's on there and share it with somebody else. YL Share, right? So if someone's interested in peppermint, you can actually look up on there. You can look up peppermint. There's going to be a little write-up on it, and you can text it to somebody, email it to somebody. You can share it on Facebook. Like, it allows you to send it out. It's super simple. And there's a lot of things in there that I'm still tapping into. They're constantly adding new things. I believe, well, the business information is in there too.
Yeah, the compensation plan is actually on here, and they break it up into pages. So Judy, it might be easier. So they break it down so you can see it one screen at a time. So that might be an easier place to look at that.
But there's videos, there's information on seed to seal, and even the videos, you can just send it to your own email if you want, but you can share it with other people. It's fantastic. They're constantly putting things in there. So it's a really great way to learn and to share with other people. So you don't even have to, if you don't know what to say about a product, you can just look it up and say, hold on one second, let me send you this information. So you don't even have to know about it yourself. It's in there, most likely is, you can just send it.
Yep, and the good thing is it's all compliant. So that's what's beautiful about it.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's also the Young Living blog and website. So there's recipes on there. There's tons of stuff on the website, in your member resources area, and then the Young Living blog. So again, anytime you're wondering, you can always look up a product on the website, take the language that's there and share that, or you can direct people to the blog, right? So they can learn about different products. They can learn and look at recipes, DIY. There's lots of resources so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, okay? And then Denise, tell us about the classroom.
And then we also have the Oils Classroom, and that's a Facebook group, and it's called the Oils Classroom Team LYLS. And we'll put the link in there if you'd like to join that. But that is actually open to the public. So you do not have to be a Young Living member to be a part of that classroom. And that was created because, we like to have classes, but obviously location and time are always, it's a tough thing to, everybody's got a busy schedule. And so it was difficult. People wanted to come to classes, but couldn't. Either they were too far away or didn't have the time. So we created this online group so that people could just enjoy it from the comfort of wherever they are and whenever they wanted to listen. So we do our classes online, and they'll always stay up once we do them. We like to do them live if we can. They're always available so that you can listen to them whenever it's convenient for you. And so if you have somebody that's interested in oils, and you can say, hey, there's a class that's either coming up or it was just done, and you can actually add them to that classroom, and then they can go and listen to it at their convenience. So it's always a resource that's there for you, for anybody that's interested.
Right. And it's great. Like, even if you have someone brand new that's interested, to say, if you want to learn more about oils, I can put you in this classroom, and you'll have access to watching any classes or videos that you want. So I have a lot of people that are like, yeah, put me in there. I want to learn. Because there's no commitment. There's no nothing, no obligation of any kind. Anyone can be in there. And then the other group that we have, which I think most, if not all of you are in, is Living Free Naturally, right? So that's our member group. And that's where we share little tips and different things, little videos and little mini classes with you. But we also do some giveaways, and we have, just some other things that we offer for members only. All right, so that group is just for you. And then as your new members join, right, so as you have new people under you, you want to add them to that group also, so they can continue to learn, they can feel connected, and they have a chance to win things, because that's always fun. All right, so those are two different groups. One's for anyone, and then Living Free Naturally is just for people that are members, right? So they've purchased a starter kit. All right, so those are some resources for you. And yay, we're at homework. Da, da, da. Okay, so your homework for week 2 is actually, if this is not doable for you for some reason, you just let us know. But we're recommending a particular book called The 4-Year Career, and there is a Young Living version of that book. Basically in the back, there are stories and testimonies and sort of a review of how different people in Young Living have gotten to where they've gotten to. So in the Young Living version, it's all Young Living businesses. So it's really relevant to what we're doing here. But the 4-Year Career is fantastic. I actually, I'm trying to do less on Amazon, so I put a Thrift Books link. If you want to get it on Amazon, you can get it on Amazon as well. But it's The 4-Year Career is the name of the book, and it was, oh gosh, Brooks. Brooks is the author's last name. I can't think of his first name, but anyway, The 4-Year Career, okay? Yes. The other part of your homework is to practice the what do you do. So I want you to have people ask you, or practice with yourself in the mirror. Imagine someone asking you, so what do you do? Okay, and get comfortable answering that. Then we talked about, or wanted to have you develop your story, right? So Denise, what do you think is the best way to develop your story?
I would say, think about, what got you started, how, that's mostly what people want to know. They're going to want to know, hey, how did this all happen? How did you start using oils? I think that's like the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really great place to start. How long has it been? What was the thing that made you interested in it? Right. And the other thing is, your story is going to change over time too. What your story is now might actually sort of develop into something a little bit different. Why you're continuing on with it. But I think right now it's like, what was it that got you interested in oils? What was that one thing? You might have known about it, but maybe there was one thing that was really like, that was the aha moment that really made you say, you know what, that's what I want to do. So yeah, I think it's look at what it is that got you, what made you get that starter kit.
Awesome. I totally agree. All right. And then log into your virtual office. All right. So that's, again, that place where you go to place your orders. But on the left-hand side, there's lots of other goodies in there. And just click on Member Resources. All right. And that's a place where you'll see tons of stuff in there. One of the things you'll see is documents on the compliancy. So you can review those. There's a compliance letter. There's a compliance video, a short video that's kind of cute and funny that you can watch. And it also, you'll see in there in the member resources area, lots of different sharing tools. So they have a bunch of different social media graphics, you name it. There's information sheets on all the products, so you can print things, you can email them to people. So just get familiar with what you have in the virtual office for sharing, and a little bit on that compliance piece. All right. Any questions about what we covered tonight or what we have for homework? And those of you who are here just for the first time this week, you do have double homework. But it's really, again, it's not hard homework. And the 4-Year Career, by the way, is a super easy read. Do I have it up here? No.
I know. I was just looking to see if and I don't have it in my closet. It's on my shelf.
I don't have it right here. But it's a really quick read.
We will post the homework, yes.
Yep. Yes, we will. All right, and it'll be helpful if you have the 4-Year Career, because next week what we're going to cover, there's some of the concepts are in that book, so you can refer back to it. And so don't feel like you have to read the whole book between now and next week. That's not the goal. We just want you to get it. And that way what we cover next week, you can refer back to and have a little bit of backup on it. All right. Okay. Are we good? Any questions? Anything? No? All right. Thank you all so much. Thanks for being here tonight. Next week, same time, I will send out the links again. I did test this one tonight, so I don't know what happened, but we'll do it again next week and hopefully it'll work fine. And make sure you connect in to the Build Your Dream group on Facebook, because that's where we're posting all the recordings, the homework, and just some helpful little things to share with you in between. All right? All right, have a great night, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.